Editor-in-Chief of the Observe Now Media, distinguished guests, participants, and ladies and gentlemen. Let me first begin by thanking the government of Uttar Pradesh and the Observe Now for inviting me to this Digital Bharat Summit 2024. In fact, this is the first time for me to visit this historical and beautiful city of Lucknow, and I couldn't resist going to the place where you get the famous, the most famous thing of Lucknow last night, and I really enjoyed it very much. Thanks to sir for suggesting the place. It is certainly a great honor and privilege for me to be here today, particularly when we talk about digitization and artificial intelligence, new and emerging technologies which are on a way to change our country in an unprecedented way. And therefore I think before I talk about the theme of this summit, I think it would be relevant to also inform you or mention you about a division in the Ministry of External Affairs. I am representing Ministry of External Affairs. I am a Joint Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs looking after new emerging and critical technology division. And this is a new division, and it shows the thinking which has gone behind it to create this kind of a division in the Ministry of External Affairs. And the idea was to strengthen our tech diplomacy all around. And this division, as you know, deals with, as it, the name itself suggests, it deals with many new emerging and critical technologies such as AI to quantum, to biotechnologies, to green hydrogen, 6G, geospatial technologies, space technologies, and so on, to strengthen, as I said, India's role as a determinant player at the global level and to assist the Indian stakeholders in identifying and acquiring cutting-edge, emerging and critical technologies. We keep a tab as the Ministry of External Affairs on the technological developments which are happening all around the world through our missions and through various other means, and try to collate them and then disseminate it to the various stakeholders in India. And we also work in a diverse way with the Indian technological advancement. We try to take them outside also. And we are also engaged in the tech governance issues at the multilateral and plurilateral forum, and also act as a facilitator in forging international collaborations and cooperation on new emerging and strategic critical technologies. And in this process, we actively engage with various stakeholders, industry bodies, startups, academia, line ministries, to enhance our tech diplomacy. I think one of the important aspects of this division in the Ministry of External Affairs, which I think I must state here, is that this division has also been entrusted with a mandate to work with the state governments in India and to assist them in identifying and acquiring emerging critical technologies from abroad, which are useful for them and for their path towards development and growth. And we are trying to work in this direction. So I think this is something we would also like to work with various state governments, including the government of Uttar Pradesh. If you think that something is being required in the state which is not available in India, but any technological advancement which has happened outside, we would be very happy to assist you in getting those through our missions, and we work with various other bodies internationally. Now coming to the theme of today's summit, we are all aware that since the launch of Digital Bharat program in 2015, or Digital India program in 2015, digitization has transformed citizen governance by enhancing service accessibility, transparency and efficiency. And digital platforms like common service centers and the e-district portals have revolutionized service delivery. And as of 2024, there are more than 5 lakh common service centers across India, offering services ranging from digital payments to healthcare and education. Similarly, the e-district initiative has processed over more than 350 million service requests, simplifying access to essential services such as obtaining certificates and licenses. And that's the scale where the digitization has taken us. I think more data would be given by Additional Secretary Maity, who deals with this issue, but some data which I have collected, I thought I'll put across to you. As far as financial inclusion is concerned, the Jan Dhan Aadhaar mobile trinity has been a cornerstone of financial inclusion. And by 2024, over 510 million Jan Dhan bank accounts have been opened so far, which has significantly increased the banking network. The direct benefit transfer system has streamlined the delivery of subsidies and welfare payments, reducing leakages and corruptions. And as of mid-2024, DBT, this is direct benefit transfer, has disbursed over 15 lakh crores to the beneficiaries, directly impacting their lives. Similarly, as far as digital payments are concerned, the unified payment interface has revolutionized digital payments. In 2024, UPI alone has recorded 10 billion transactions per month. I think with a transaction value exceeding 15 lakh crores. And this perhaps reflects the widespread adoption of digital payments and has facilitated smooth, faster and more secure financial transactions for citizens. As far as healthcare is concerned, as you all know, the Ayushman Bharat digital mission has been instrumental in digitizing healthcare. And by mid-2024, again, over 250 million health IDs have been created, improving access to medical histories and the quality of health services. Telemedicine platforms like eSanjeevani has been created, and they have conducted over 15 million consultations, making healthcare services accessible in remote areas. As far as education is concerned, again, digital initiative in education such as Diksha, digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing, have made learning resources more accessible. And by 2024, the platform had over 450 million users, with providing a vast array of educational content to students and teachers nationwide. Similarly, the PM e-Vidya program, which was initiated during the COVID-19 pandemic, continues to ensure continuity in education through digital means. In terms of agriculture, the eNAM, National Agriculture Market Platform, has connected over 20 million farmers and 1,200 mandis by 2024. And that has facilitated transparent and efficient agriculture trade. And this digital platform also empowers farmers by providing better price discovery and reducing market inefficiencies. In terms of grievance redressal, digital platforms like centralized public grievance redress and monitoring system have streamlined grievance redressal to a great extent. And by 2024, the system has processed over 30 million grievances, significantly enhancing our government accountability and responsiveness. Thus, I think the Digital India program has significantly improved citizen governance by making services more accessible, transparent, and efficient. The integration of technology into various aspects of governance continues to empower citizens and foster a more inclusive digital economy. As far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, Anil has already mentioned in detail what are being done, what is in pipeline, what kind of policies are being made, so I'm not going into that. We have other speakers also from Uttar Pradesh, perhaps they will give more idea about it. I would only like to say that Uttar Pradesh is one of the top states in India in terms of digitization and digital citizen program. And it is rapidly emerging as a digital governance and AI frontrunner. A strong political will coupled with citizen-centric approach has fueled the state digital transformation. And by investing in digital infrastructure, adopting emerging technologies like AI and fostering public-private partnership, I think Uttar Pradesh can and not only improve service delivery but also create a robust ecosystem for business and citizens. And this digital journey is set to further propel the state's economy, growth and development. Let me also briefly talk about how we are leveraging our expertise in digital governance to support other nations through a variety of initiatives and collaborations. And this is, I'm talking because I come from, a ministry which deals with external affairs. And I would like to say here that we have been sharing our digital public goods like Aadhaar system, Unified Public Payments, UPI, and CoWIN platforms with other countries. For instance, the Aadhaar system is being now adopted by several countries to improve their own identity management system. And I think that's a testimony to our expertise and the efficient way in which we have created these platforms. We have also partnered with various countries to export our digital governance framework. In Africa, India has helped implement e-governance solutions that streamline public services. The India-Africa ICT Expo is one of the notable platforms where Indian companies showcase their digital solutions leading to collaborative projects in African nations. We are also going to have, soon, India-Africa, partnership summit in Delhi, where also a lot of these, companies participate and showcase their, products and services. And as far as digital payments and financial inclusion is concerned, I would say that the success of UPI in India has prompted several countries to explore similar digital platform systems. The NPCI has partnered with international counterparts to promote digital payment solutions globally and enhancing financial inclusion and transparency in those regions. We are also involved in capacity building and training program, sharing our expertise in digital governance with government officials and IT professionals from other countries. And these programs often are conducted through initiatives like ITEC, which is a scholarship program which the Ministry of External Affairs runs, and which helps to build local capacity and foster sustainable digital ecosystem. And by exporting our digital governance model and technologies, we are playing a crucial role now in the global digital transformation. Not only we have transformed ourselves, if you look at the journey of 10 years, it's entirely different. The way we were there 10 years ago and now is completely different. And now we are also helping in a global digital transformation. We are fostering international cooperation and positioning ourselves as a leader in the digital space and digital innovation. And before I conclude, I would also like to talk about artificial intelligence. I think that's making waves all around. I think that the integration of artificial intelligence into digital governance in India is poised to further enhance the effectiveness of public administration and service delivery, offering promising advancement and efficiencies. AI is already streamlining various administrative functions, from automating routine tasks to improving data accuracy. AI predictive analytics capabilities are being now leveraged in areas such as disaster management and healthcare. AI models are also analyzing historical data and current trends to predict flood risks and disease outbreaks. The Indian Meteorological Department is using AI to forecast weather patterns with 90% accuracy, helping to implement timely preventive measures, and this is credible. AI is also enabling more personalized interaction through platforms like MyGov, which uses machine learning algorithms to tailor services and communications based on individual user data. It is also enhancing fraud detections in financial transactions, and we have Principal Commissioner of Income Tax, Mr. Pratap Singh ji here. I think he would talk more about this, that how AI has actually helped in GST and the other tax systems to perhaps detect more frauds. And I think that is, again, improving the service delivery and the public administration. AI implementation in the public distribution system has reduced subsidy fraud by 25% in 2024 alone. And that has ensured that the benefits reach to the intended recipients. If you look ahead, I think AI has the potential to further revolutionize digital governance by expanding into advances and areas like real-time policy adjustment, intelligence resources management, and more sophisticated citizen engagement tools. The Government of India aims to integrate AI into 70% of its digital services by 2025, driving continued improvement in efficiency, transparency, and accessibility. And I think this is also necessary at state level, and certainly, as Anil pointed out, the the government is looking at having an AI policy. I'm sure that will further help in transforming digital governance in the state of Uttar Pradesh, driving efficiency, enhancing decision-making, and offering a broad potential for future advancement in public administration. Let me now conclude by saying that digital governance and AI innovation is not only a destination, but it's a continuous journey. And by harnessing technology's power and digitization, we can build a more transparent, efficient, and citizen-centric governance and government. Thank you once again for inviting me.